Hello and welcome to Two Words Wolves Pod. I'm Ryan Eichten and with me today is Andrew Dukowitz. Andrew, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm all right. Interesting Wolves game last night. Some good, some bad, and a lot in between. Excited to talk to you about it. Anything new with you?
No, man. I mean, Boston, they almost won. That's something, right? They were within a 3-point heave away, so it is what it is. But yeah, excited to talk about it.
Yeah, well, let's just get into it. They lost to the Celtics 118 to 115. Second straight loss against a conference favorite team. Last time losing to the Oklahoma City Thunder on New Year's Eve. Boston doesn't have the best record in the Eastern Conference, but they're the Eastern Conference favorite. I can tell you that without looking up the odds. Each game played out almost exactly the same. In the first game against OKC, they won the first two quarters, had a 6-point lead at halftime. Probably could have been more if not for some late turnovers. And then they lose the third quarter by 20 points. They do storm back in that game to kind of make it a close game at the end before OKC shuts the door. And pretty much the same script against Boston, except the second quarter was their disaster quarter. They win the first quarter by 7, so they even have a greater lead than they did against OKC. And then they lose the second quarter by 18 points. It was 20 at one point before they wiped off the basket at the end of the half. And then the Wolves win the third quarter and the fourth quarter. They had it down to, I think, let's see, what did they have it down to towards the end of the game? They got it to 3 points, enough for Anthony Edwards to throw up a heave. But before that,
They
Derek
had a
White.
1-point lead. They came back and took the lead.
That's true.
And
They took a brief lead. Then the Celtics stormed back. The Wolves responded to make it down to 3 before a Derek White bank-in 3 kind of sealed it until the Wolves were able to get a heave at the end to make it close. But ultimately, lost to another great team. So kind of weird. I saw a lot of talk of like this was kind of more during that second quarter. The Celtics and Thunder are out of the Wolves league. I mean, I definitely agree with that. They're clearly better than the Wolves in a lot of ways, but I also kind of think like I found myself complaining about every single thing the Wolves were doing and then looking up and the score didn't match that vibe. So I do think like maybe there's some reason to hope that they can try to get to this level. What do you kind of think about that?
I mean, I'm not a moral victory guy. I'll start by saying
Sure.
that. Like it just a loss is a loss. It counts on the schedule as a loss. Like it is what it is. It sucks that they lost both of these games because if they would have won one of them, I think we're thinking about the team differently. Of like, oh, okay, they can at least hang with the Celtics if Jaylen Brown isn't playing, or like they can steal one on OKC when they're not shooting the best. I think like if there was a positive to get from it, it's that when this team is clicking, they're really good. Like when they're moving the ball, when Dante's shooting well. I mean, Josh Minott, that was probably his best. Which like weird trend of this pod is every time I come on, I think the day before Josh Minott has like a career game. So let's
Better than
record every day, I
Travis's.
guess.
Better
But
than every time Travis comes on and the Wolves are just in the darkest place of their season. He came on after the 2 Portland losses and after Cat kicked their butt. So we'll take the positive trend instead of the black hole.
but like I think this team is like figuring it out. It's taking a lot longer than I think people would have hoped. I'm still confident like by the 40 game mark they're going to have a pretty good idea of where they're sitting. And they are figuring out like some lineups. Like the starting 5 has been honestly pretty good the last 15 games or so. I mean, on the season they have a positive net rating, they have a positive plus minus. I mean, their true shooting is 61%. Their assist to turnover is fine, like not great, but fine, 1.67. And then that Julius Randle with the 5 bench guys lineup is awesome. Like they stumbled into something there where Julius Randle can be truly awesome with those 4 bench guys, Dante, Josh. It's weird that like he can't be that way all the time, but for how good they can be at times is also like how bad they can be, which is like a Family Guy
Yeah.
reference from way back of John Madden being like, for as good as they were in the first half is as equally as bad as they were in the second half. Shout out if you know. But like that second quarter was terrible. Like Derek White hit like a second chance three with 2 minutes to go, and I believe the Wolves had 5 consecutive ISO plays after that between Randall and Ant, where there was maybe like one pass a possession. And it's just, for some reason, this team, like when the wheels come off, the wheels really come off, and they score 16 points in a quarter. It's ISO heavy. The vibes look terrible. Everyone on the bench sits back down. And then we're wondering what the heck they're doing. But then the fourth quarter happens, and it's like, holy cow, they can storm back against anyone.
Yeah, it's been weirdly the same. I mean, I just talked about how these last 2 games have been the same script. Really, the whole season and all their losses have gone the exact same way. Finch said after the Sacramento loss that dropped them to 8-10, he said something. I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't have it up. He said something like, "It's Groundhog Day. We've been playing the same way. We get down, we fight back, we can't close." And I wouldn't say they, and it's not always perfect one-to-one analogy. Like, I wouldn't say they can't close. Like, can't close doesn't necessarily apply to this game, but they definitely like came up short or didn't quite have enough in the gas tank where they build these deficits and they have to rally back just to come up short. And I just, for as much as I like agree with like that they are starting to figure stuff out, they're playing better than they were, at least by the eye test. Like they're going to start winning games as the schedule eases up at some point. But like for all those, like there's still a bunch of things that have just not changed at any point in the year. And that second quarter is just a great example where they just have these terrible stretches where they can't get stops, and the offense just goes into the complete crapper. And I don't know. I am honestly at a loss for words like why that keeps happening. Why do they have these extended stretches? Because like the Wolves have won 6 of the last 8 basketball quarters they've played, and probably more if you date back because they'd won the previous 3 games. Like they're not. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but like they're winning basketball quarters. But the ones they've lost are by 18 and 20 points, and against good teams, that is just death. I'm not sure it's probably not great against bad teams either, but like they just have no ability right now to dig themselves out of playing rough stretches. And I don't know what changes. I mean, sure, you can call more timeouts. I didn't think that was a problem yesterday.
No.
And I, in general, kind of think that idea is a little bit overrated. I think it's definitely fair in that OKC game to be like, Finch, we needed an extra timeout here. But like ultimately, like the guys got to make the plays too. And so if they're just going to come out of the timeout not executing, what's the timeout going to do?
Well, I saw a lot on which Twitter's not like the best barometer, but like,
No, it's not.
you know, why didn't Josh Minot stay in longer? And it's like Jaden was playing fine. Like, why didn't we keep Nikhil in? And it's like, well, you gotta have Ant in. Like, really, Finch is only 2 guys, I think, that he can like reliably not play in a fourth quarter to end the game is Randall and Mike, or not Randall and Mike, Rudy and Mike. And like he pulled both of those last night. He was like, we need Dante in for Mike. Nas has got to be in for Gobert. I mean, would it have been cool to see how Minot would be in like a crunch fourth quarter game? Like, yeah, it would be cool, but also Minot has a history of like kind of going off the rails when he does get too much time. And those are like the criticisms that like you see on this team is like what Finch could do better. But it's like sitting in the post game press conferences with Finch, like it is true frustration on his face when he's like, I think it was after the last home game where he was like, we just have stretches where people start calling their own number and like it's just ISO ball. And that's what happens with this team. When they're moving the ball, when they're having a high assist percentage, they look like world beaters. And then when they go into ISO, I mean, I pulled up the stats. Julius Randle, 3 ISOs per game. He averages 0.68 points per ISO. That's sandwiched between Norm Powell and Davian Mitchell. That's not a great company to be in. And both of them average about a third as many ISOs as Julius. Ant's not much better. I mean, I can pull him up here quick too, but the issue I think with this offense is when they stop trusting each other, it just kind of goes out the window. And then once it goes out the window, it's just they need like a halftime or an end of the quarter break for Finch or whoever is getting in their ear to get the ship kind of righted, which again is frustrating because you shouldn't need an end of the quarter break to like get the team locked back in. But like Finch is really trying to get this thing right. And it's just kind of frustrating as a fan's point of view. Here's Anthony Edwards, 0.79. He is sandwiched between Johnny Juzang and Malachi Branham. Ant 5.3 ISOs a game. Both of those guys and Dylan Brooks, who is outdoing Ant, 0.5 ISO, so 10 times less than Ant. I mean, they just can't run ISO. Like, I don't know if it's an Ant doesn't know what to do against double teams. I don't know if it's a Randall is just turnover prone, but when this team goes ISO, it doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, those numbers are going to go up a little bit. I don't think they're going to, and I'm pretty surprised Randall's is so low because I do feel like they do get some good stuff occasionally out of his isolations when he kicks out. Maybe is that number just on his shots or is it on the entire offensive possession if they ISO?
Total ISO. So if Randall is doing an ISO and ends the possession with an ISO, that's his points per possession, which Randall's like turnover frequency is, I'll bring it up here, but his turnover frequency on ISOs is alarming.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to talk about. Like, I see those terrible Randall turnovers. He's had one in each of the last 2 games. But part of the reason why those look so ugly is because the other 4 shooters on the court are just standing completely still. And it just makes it so incredibly easy on the defenders to just sit in the passing lanes. They got nowhere to go with Julius. Or Julius has nowhere to go, and he turns the ball over. And so that's like just it's a microcosm of everything that's going on where yes, Randall is a very frustrating player. He does a lot of things that cost the Wolves, but ultimately in a game last night, they get absolutely blown out without Julius Randall.
Yep.
He scored there by far the most points, 27 points on solid shooting, 5 threes, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. So that like they need Julius Randall, and that's kind of like a bigger picture thought. Like you can't just dump Julius Randall. He's providing too much of your offense to just trade him for like a 3-and-D wing type player and a salary filler. So it's not just one player, and that's what's tough. Like Rudy isn't playing as well as he did last year, and they're not the defense has suffered. Mike has not been nearly as effective. I think some of the age stuff with him is overstated, but he certainly hasn't played as well. So they got to figure out. But to me, it's like the bench lineup continues to be a bright spot. So I don't know how they like Julius Randle's played great with the bench players, and it feels like if Ant was in that spot, he would also play well with them. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that is like an indictment of this team that if everyone plays well with the bench and no one plays well with the starters, what does that mean? Big picture.
Julius Randle, 10th in the league, 10th out of every player. Turnover frequency of 22.3% on ISOs. So 1 out of 4 ISOs is going to the other team.
Yeah, and ISO should be something that should be low turnover. Maybe you'll get low field goal percentage with it, but it should in theory be low turnover.
Yep. It shouldn't be 1 out of 4 you're turning it over, but it's to your point. Like there's a lot of possessions where Julius takes an ISO, dribbles into the paint, kind of crab dribbles 3 or 4 times, and then there's 2 guys on the wings, 2 in the corner, and no one is moving. So the defense just kind of collapses in on him, and like what's he supposed to do kind of. Whereas the bench unit, I think that's where he gets going because they move. Like Nikhil is cutting, Nas is doing stuff, Dante is like Klay Thompsoning from the wing to the corner. Like they they just understand the like basketball, like the effort level of basketball, which isn't to say the starters aren't like playing with effort, but it is, I mean, Mike is older. He can't do what Mike did 10 years ago or even last year. Like, I think we're starting to find out that if Mike plays over 25 minutes, it's not the same Mike that we've seen like last year or the year before. Rudy offensively has his struggles. Like, he kind of has to be in the dunker spot or else no one's going to guard him. It's just a weird team. And yet again, when they're doing pick and roll or like drive and kick or they're moving the ball, they look really good. And the starters as a 5-man group are playing pretty well together. It's just frustrating because they get away from that so quick. And
Yeah.
it's like the Pavlov's thing, right? Like, you dog presses a bell, they get a treat, and then the dog eventually learns that the bell equals treat. Like, being at those games, like when there's like Ant driving, throws to the corner to the wing, then they hit like someone cutting for like a layup, like the crowd goes crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like Randall and Edwards, it's starting to get like a Wiggins vibe in the Target Center when they start ISOing, where everybody just kind of like starts to groan.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, you can feel it. That's like the biggest thing is that I just think like the starters are just not. I mean, they've played well, but like big picture, the starters I just don't think work together.
yeah,
The Randall, Gobert, McDaniels is just not nearly enough shooting, and
no,
teams are just they're ignoring Gobert, they're ignoring Randall, they're ignoring McDaniels, Randall lesser to an extent, but like they're just not even guarding some of these people, and it makes it impossible for like the Conley Gobert pick and roll to get going. It makes it impossible for that swing you talk about, like because they're not. It's one swing to the wide open guy, and McDaniels did a good job of knocking down his open shots last night, but it's been few and far between with that. It is good to see Jaden have 8 rebounds. Like that's usually a good barometer for how he's playing. It's not even like it honestly thinking about Cat and the Jazz coach, I think it was, had a good statement after the recent game with the Knicks, where he said something like Cat hit 3 threes against us. It's not the threes going in that hurts you. It's like your reaction to them and that's to me that's like the difference between Randall and Cat is so clear. Like Randall's been making more threes than Cat did last year, but it's so much more about like having the defense respect you from that range. And they just do not like opposing defenses. If the possession ends with a wide open Randall or McDaniels 3, they're living with it.
yep,
And so like you get a game last night where they combine 9 of 15 from 3, and it's a big reason why you're in the game. But like in a broader sense, they're not. The offense is suffering because on the nights when they're not hitting them, like there's just no other place to go.
and it's like you're 100% with that lineup because Rudy is. You can only have Rudy Gobert on the floor if the rest of the team is hitting shots. And like Jaden, to your point, hit shots last night, but like he's shooting 31.5% from 3 this season, and I think he's shooting 27% from the corners. Like
Jeez.
that's not ideal. Mike has not been a good shooter. I mean, he's been better over the last 10 games, but he has not been a good shooter this year. I mean, Ant's having to shoot 10 a game in part because, I mean, he's hitting them at 40%, so he should shoot 10 a game. But it's in part out of necessity. Like, if he's not shooting 10 threes, there's nothing coming from that group shooting wise. And when like Mike doesn't have it going or Mike's not able to play 32, 35 minutes a game, there's really no one on this team that can work with Gobert like Mike can. I mean, I know like Gobert's screen assist numbers and all of those things are still awesome. I still think I have like a newfound appreciation for him ever since he's come to Minnesota because he is
Mm-hmm.
like an impact defensive player, and on offense, when he has shooters, he's a big impact offensive player, but like he is purely a lob threat. Like his post up game is not great. Offensive rebound dunks are great, but like it's just tough with this team offensively. And
Yeah.
again, it just shows like Nikhil comes in, and even without a point guard on the floor, the spacing is better, the passing is better, everything kind of elevates. Same with Dante. I just
Yeah.
wish there was more. I wish there was more like levers to pull for Chris Finch, because I do think,
Hmm.
like theoretically speaking, like would this team be better if Rudy came off the bench and Nas started and played 32 minutes?
Yeah.
They
I
might be.
think
Would it be
I
theoretically better if Randall came off the bench? They might be, but like you can't bench Rudy Gobert when the defense absolutely sinks when he's not on the floor. And you can't bench Randall. Like it just he's a 4-time All-Star that is the second most important player on your offense. You
yeah.
can't bench him.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And with the Rudy point, something that I think just needs to happen is they need to involve him in the offense,
Yep.
or else that was the case. That's been the case basically the entire time he's been here. The only person of like a starting player that's like found some sort of offensive synergy with him was Cat, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone else has just not been there. And this kind of brings us to our next topic. Kind of buried the lead on Anthony Edwards not playing well. Ant needs to be the one to do it,
Yep.
because though that's, other than Mike, Ant is the main pick and roll partner, and Ant just clearly does not trust Rudy on the short roll. And to me, every time I see it, Rudy has been great in that action. When they hit Rudy on the short roll and he's playing 4-on-3, he's done well in that spots, found open shooters. He had the missed dunk against Oklahoma City, but like those have been few and far between, honestly. Like you just have to, if you're going to play with Rudy, you have to try to get him the ball in some sort of way. And it's not post ups. It's not, shout out Dane, push shots. I agreed with him at the time, but
Then we saw a
that
couple
didn't.
of those
Yeah,
shots
but
that went over the
it's
backboard
it's
almost.
on the short roll, and he's been good in that action. And I don't know why they don't go to it more often. I just think it's Ant doesn't trust him, and that's kind of been a lot of what's going on with the team. Is Anthony Edwards is just not playing well enough. He's averaging 20.1 points per game since the start of December, which is coincidentally when they've kind of turned the season around. They were 8-10 after that sack loss, and the last 15 games, so +1 on that, are they're 9-6. All 15 of those games, by the way, are against teams with greater than 500 records. So they played a very tough December and came out winning games. But inside of that, Ant has just not been himself. And last night was like probably the biggest sign of it. He shoots 5 of 16 from the field, 2 of 9 from three. He's the only person that didn't shoot 500 or better from three. 15 points, and like I said, he's at 20.1 the last 15 games. Like he's only had one 30-point game. Finch mentioned in his post game presser that he had 30 something in his first ever playoff game. Like that player is just not there right now. I can read. He had some interesting quotes after the game. They talked about like in the third quarter, he only had one shot, but they scored 34 points. And he had 5 assists, and they asked him, like, is that how you have to play now that they're hard doubling you every possession? He says, hell nah. I mean, and then he apologizes for saying hell because he's so scared of receiving a fine. And Wolves PR was like, nope, that's fine.
Hell is okay.
He's like, I don't know, man. That was a good brand of basketball, but it's not how we want to play. How I want to play, of course. I'm only 23. I don't want to be just passing the ball all night. Do you feel me? Someone mentions. So you don't want to just be Mike Conley? He says, at all. But the way they're guarding me, I think I have to. And he's right. That's what he has to do. But that makes me worried about his larger mindset of, I mean, I would say it too. He has to score more. That's definitely true. But when they're bringing in these doubles, he has to make the right play. And I thought he largely did most of the nights. But like this double team thing is just causing him issues. And it's a kind of hint said over and over, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he's kind of at a loss for words with it too.
I mean, it's like the push and pull of like knowing what to do versus like doing the right thing, right? Like he knows when double comes, he needs to get off the ball. And to his credit, third quarter last night, like he was doing that. Like double would come, he'd drive, kick it, swing it, bounce pass it. Like he was doing his job, and they made the run in the third quarter. Getting off the ball, though, doesn't get you like Sprite endorsements. It doesn't get you on the highlight films. It doesn't get you like on the level that Ant, I think, wants to be at and is like trending towards. So it's the push and pull of like, I should get off the ball, but this sucks. And like some of it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like if Ant got off the ball and then hard cut to the rim, people are going to find him. But a lot of the times Ant gets off the ball and he just kind of like hangs out on the wing until it comes back to him. You know, I think one of the most telling things is like Steph Curry is one of the best shooters, best scorers ever. His isolation plays per game is 1.7. Like he doesn't do anything off of ISO. It's all off ball movement. It's all swings. It's all just getting himself into the flow of the game. And I think with Ant, he's not there yet. I think he like understands that's what I should be doing, but it's not like fun. Like no one, I've never heard an NBA player be like, I love back cutting. I love blowing past my guy, getting like hit by the center as I back cut, and then just running to the corner with no reward. But like that's the stuff he needs to start doing to start getting like the easy buckets. And once he's a threat off the ball, then things are going to start working for him. And to your point, like the Rudy short roll thing is another way that he could really start like elevating this. Like Rudy comes up for the pick, they double Ant hard off of that. Luka throws lobs to Derek Lively every game, and they do the exact same thing to Luka. Like Ant knows that. Like he has to have read like scouting reports and watched tape on Luka and how Luka works with Lively. It's just, I think it's part trust, and I think it's like the other part might be like some immaturity of just like he's 23 years old and wants to make highlight films, make the big plays, score 30 a night. It's just, I mean, the difference from watching Jason Tatum last night and Anthony Edwards was like shocking because Tatum
and Shea the game before. And Shea the game before. Yeah.
I mean, Shea and Tatum are just never rushed. When the double comes, they make the right pass. They trust that they're going to do their thing. It's just, which I mean, again, to the age thing, they're both 3-4 years older than Ant. So I guess they should look better, but it's
that's
frustrating.
Why this is
the Wolves are in this point where they have so much put on Ant's shoulders.
Yeah, and this is why this is a nuanced conversation, because it's not all on Ant. Because the Celtics and Thunder make it so much easier on their top guys. They have better spacing. They run better sets. Their coaches put everyone in a better spot. So it's not all on Ant. He's playing in lineups that don't fit him right. They're like, how often does he just get like so many of those like just in rhythm shots that the Tatum and SGA get? He just doesn't get. So it's not all on Ant, but he just has to play better in almost every facet. I haven't like zoned in on his defense. I'm sure it's fine, but like the pass, he just doesn't have like that read and react mindset yet.
No.
And anytime his game is lacking, he always finds a way to pick it up. But like the quick get off the ball, the quick make the right move, doesn't it just isn't. It's a step slow sometimes. It's not there, and like the pick and roll with Rudy is exactly what like is lacking. Like when you run a pick and roll, like the idea is like the screen takes one player out of the play and you're playing 2-on-1 while the screen defender tries to get back into the play. So that that's going to leave like how often did you see they run a pick and roll, the center makes like a bad read and Ant just dishes it off to Rudy for a dunk. That just so rarely happens, if ever. Like that then if it's so easy to guard a pick and roll when you're not worried about one of the people in the action. So they just, I mean, at this point in the season, they're just hard hedging every single time Ant gets a screen. And if he doesn't bring a screen, it's an easy defense on an ISO. And so he needs to get off the ball and doesn't always do it. And sometimes, like in the third quarter, does. But then, as he talked about last night, when there is like just a simple read to make where you can get to the rim, make a shot. I mean, he blew a layup late in the game.
That one was tough.
He's hesitating because he's waiting for certain actions, and then like you said, like sometimes when he gets, I saw a play where he got off the ball and then was standing like literally on the logo.
Yeah,
it's like you have to. The play's not over when you get rid of the ball. Like you have to cut, you have to move, and just none of those instincts are there right now. And then you talk about him being 23, and that is completely fair. But if he's going to continue to play like a 23-year-old, the season's going to end real quick because they need him to be. I mean, like he was second team All NBA last year, and like I would have said, if they want to be as good as they think they can be, Ant needs to be like first team All NBA. And right now, he's going to make the All-Star team on reputation. I don't really know that he's been good enough for that. So it's been about a month of it now. Probably longer, but they had plenty of other problems with the winning game, but like they need Anthony Edwards to turn this run quick, and he's not struggling for not trying. I promise you guys, they are watching film. They are. It is not in. I mean, there's been pockets of poor effort, but like on the whole, it is not for lack of trying.
Ant throws 51 passes per game. 4.7 of them are to Rudy. He averages an assist to Rudy Gobert every other game, despite running however many pick and rolls with Rudy. I mean, that is the thing. Like watching this team, like as much as we do, like again, compare it to Dallas, where Derek Lively comes up for a pick and roll. Luka like uses the action. Derek cuts. Someone from the corner has to come in to help kind of seal off Derek, and then you have that tough corner pass from Luka. He can thread it into Lively, or he can just try and outrun and score for two. That doesn't happen with the Wolves. Like they just let Gobert run to the basket because they know Ant's not going to pass it. Like the scouting reports in the NBA are unreal. Like they know, every team that comes in here knows that, okay, Ant averages half an assist to Gobert a game, and we let Gobert run to the rim. And yes, Gobert's probably going to like duff the ball and kick it out of bounds if Ant threw it to him 10 times, but the other 9 times it's probably a dunk. Like they just got to start adding that stuff. And like I think that's kind of the problem with the Wolves this year, is what you were saying of like if Ant's going to play like a 23-year-old. Like they put all of the faith on this team on the shoulders of a 23-year-old, and that just historically doesn't go well. Like what team with a 23-year-old wins a championship? Has there even been one in recent? Dwayne Wade in 2006, but like Shaq was on that team. Like LeBron didn't win one until he was in his 27, 28 year, I think. It's just, that's kind of where this team's at, though, is if they're going to win a championship, Anthony Edwards needs to be historically good for his age. And what we're seeing is he's kind of just being normal.
Wade was 24 that title year.
Oh, there we go. So, like, even Dwayne Wade was older than Ant. I mean, it's just, it's frustrating, like, as a fan base, because this is the reality of this team. Like, Julius Randle's going to be Julius Randle. We honestly don't really have a third best offensive player right now. It might be Nikhil, honestly.
It's Dante.
Dante over the last 6 or 7. I mean, they're in a weird spot, and I don't know how they get out of it other than like what you said. Ant just needs to be better. Which, how much
That
can you bank on?
that's like the main thing is like I think now, like, and probably before now, but like they know, like they realize they need to get Anthony Edwards going. And like I've said, it's not all on Anthony Edwards. It's honestly on the entire franchise. Like
Yep.
Ant can't be scoring 20.1 points per game. He can't be averaging. This is what is insane to me. His free throw attempts. He is down to 3.8 a game. That is certifiably insane. It's not all on the refs. I mean, I think some of it is he's been getting not great calls. He's gotten not great calls probably his whole career because he, like he says, he doesn't flop. But that's not the point of this. Like, it's certainly not all of it. A lot of it is his shot selection. His shots at the rim are way down. But like, he averaged 6.4 last year and 5.3 the year before. That is such like a red flag. Like, why isn't he getting to the line? Why isn't he? The rim attacks have been down. Like, it's just none of it is working. And the entire state of the franchise basically hinges on making it work. And I think it will. But as we sit here, and Finch even mentioned it. I don't remember if it was pregame or postgame. He mentioned the 2 seasons ago when they first got Rudy. And that is more and more what this feels like. They were at the same stretch. They were 16-17 in that season, and they were in the midst of the 6 game losing streaks that culminated in them losing that horrendous New Year's Eve Detroit game. So when that team kind of started to figure it out was right around this time calendar year. And I do think I still think the Wolves are going to start ripping off games at some point. But like the way this team is playing now, or even like a slightly better version of how they're playing now, they're not close to a team that can win multiple playoff series. Yeah. And I don't know. To me, for a trade is probably going to have to happen. I don't know what that even looks like. Honestly, first they got to figure out this ownership situation. I saw A-Rod at the game last night. Maybe that gives you optimism that he's going to be the one that's going to prevail. Krasinski's been reporting that like the end of the month is like a timetable for that. I don't know. A lot needs to change, and I just like I do wonder if like the offense has been a struggle for years now. Is there like with this coaching staff and with this roster, do they have the people in place to be able to get like a top 10 offense? Like you said, can they, if they remove Rudy from the lineup, does that just tank the defense to the point where now you're looking at just a mediocre team? So I don't know what the fix is. Unfortunately, I think a Randall trade is like the easiest lever to pull, but like we've said, like game like last night, they just don't have enough offense without Randall. So if you can't trade him for a role player, and I don't think there's another all-star caliber player to flip for him. So it's a tough spot, and I'm not going to say like the season is like a wash already, but it's starting to feel like some sort of gap here where they're kind of building up whatever the next version of the team is.
The trade side of it is really interesting because I haven't been like rooting for a trade. Like honestly, I think they should just keep the team together, play out this season, have that gap year, and then I mean they have to sign Nikhil now. Like the team loves him, and that guy's gonna make like $18 million. Like
well, certainly can't lose Nas too.
Right. You can't lose Nas either. Like you got to re-sign those guys. So if you're going to do a Randall trade, it has to be for an expiring. And I mean, we've talked about that. Look at the expirings around the league. It's not ideal. And the Wolves can't take $1 back more than they send out, and they can't add a player to it. So like
that was the thing.
try to find expirings that are
the Jimmy situation in Miami. The Jimmy situation in Miami has expired. There is like no legal way for them to trade for Jimmy Butler. Not that that was something that they would want to do, but like Jimmy makes more than every single person on the team. So the fact that they can't take extra money back and they can't aggregate salaries, there's just no way. Like
They
I
would
saw
have
Rand,
to basically trade Nas
they'd
for a
have to
salary.
salary dump someone to get under the separate second apron, and even then, which
And then you're
obviously they would never
trading
do.
Nas, Julius Randle, and probably picks to
Right.
Miami for Jimmy Butler on 1 year. And
And you're
Jimmy's
just getting outbid anyway. So like, no, it's same thing with like Brandon Ingram. Like, Randall for Brandon Ingram trade theoretically makes sense. I'm pretty sure Ingram makes slightly more than Randall, so it doesn't work. Like,
Yep.
these are the things that like, it's funny. Like, I don't mind people complaining about the cat trade because obviously you have the you have the winning hand so far at this point. But also like, then you can't complain when the Wolves get under the second apron, and because like that's a lot of these trade rules are prohibiting them.
Yep.
But to go back to the Nikhil and Na thing for a second, I do wonder to what extent the ownership is willing to spend, because I think that was a big part of the cat trade is they saved a lot of money doing that. And like I said, when I say ownership, I don't even know who I'm talking about right now, and
That's
I don't
part of the
know.
problem.
I don't know if Glenn prevails. And I honestly have no clue who is going to win. Not that I could even have that type of information or lean, but like, if Glenn wins, is he gonna put this team back up for sale at a price that favors him more than the A-Rod Laurie deal? If that's true, are they going to spend into the second apron or into the luxury tax again? If he's not going to sell the team, is he going to go back to kind of being a cheaper owner? I don't know. If A-Rod and Laurie, like, the whole thing started with them kind of having cash problems. So if they own the team, are they going to willing to spend? Like, there's just so many questions right now, like big picture with that kind of stuff, that obviously the team needs to start playing better, and I'm not completely punting on the season. I think there's like I keep like, if they just lose the second and third quarters of the last two games by 10 instead of 18, they win both of those games. And so I do think there's like a good team in here somewhere. Is there a championship team in here somewhere? I mean, if if you with any team ever, if you just deny that they're ever going to be championship good, you're going to be right 9 times out of 10.
Yep.
29 times out of 30. So like
100% of the time you will be right.
I mean, yeah, if I could say every single team is not a championship team, and I'm going to be 29 out of 30 right. So in that sense, I don't know if there's a championship team in here. It's certainly hard to see, but I do think there's like a very, very good team in here. And like, just kind of taking a peek at the Western Conference, while they haven't played Memphis yet, so that's like an interesting, but like, they played Houston twice. I'm not all that afraid of Houston. Denver's kind of been broken. Dallas, they just beat. I mean, when Luka was playing, they were up 20 in the first half. So they've played the Lakers and the Clippers and the Warriors, all of which are not, like, the Phoenix Suns are in free fall. The Kings are doing Kings things. Like,
the Thunder are still young.
There's a path to like the Western Conference Finals again if they find the right matchups and start winning. Like, OKC is the only team right now that, and again, they haven't played Memphis, so maybe that's another team where you just look at it and it's like, wow, that is a level I don't know if they can reach. Every other team, I'm just like, if the Wolves are playing how their talent says they should, they got a shot. But like we said, they've got to figure out this Ant thing, because if they just simply get him back up to 28 a game instead of 20, like, that's just going to be such a big turnaround for this team.
I'm looking at the salaries right now, and like, I mean, the reason I think the Randall trade is off is, I mean, it's safe to assume Nas is going to decline his player option. I mean, Nas is a $20 million player and Nikhil is a $20 million player. Just to get both of them up to 20, that's quick math, 7, 16, $23 million they'd have to like juice them with. And Randall makes 33. And that's assuming Randall hates it here and declines his player option, which, like, I don't know what Randall's head is. I don't know.
I think he'll decline the player option, not because he likes it or hates it here, but because there's more money waiting for him on the other side.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know what his next contract looks like. I would assume he can get 32, 35 from someone else for a long-term deal.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get 30. I guess I don't. Tyus Jones got the minimum. I don't know what anyone's worth, to be honest. But I don't think he can get 30 a year. That his player option
side
is.
of it is just, I've been seeing a lot of people trying to trade Jaden too, and like they didn't include him in the Rudy deal. They paid him a ton of money. I just think this team has a lot of faith that Jaden someday is going to figure it out. I don't know if he ever is, but even if they were to trade Jaden, it's kind of the same thing. They can't take any money back. So then you're trading for Cam Johnson on the Nets or Norman Powell, or like, then are you getting something considerably better than Jaden? Probably not. So just keep Jaden.
Yeah. I mean, Jaden is they need Jaden to play better. I mean, not last night. He was great last night, but like, he's the 72nd highest paid player in the NBA.
Yep.
His contract is very affordable. I think like there's kind of, there's felt like there's been like some like Jaden's underperforming, or like Jaden's contract is a huge issue. It's really not. Like the cap is going to continue to go up 10% every year.
On a team should make, and like if he's your third best player, like it's fine, but he just like he hasn't been the third best guy on the Wolves this year. I guess that's maybe the problem, but like he's
making Kyle Kuzma money. He's making Terry Rozier money.
Like, if you were to trade Jaden, you're getting Kyle Kuzma. Like, does that do anything for this team?
No. Also,
like Mike's not going to get traded. Rudy can't be traded. You're not trading Ant. Dante, I don't think you're trading at this point. So then it's like, are you trading Terrence Shannon? Like, you're getting a $2 million player back. Like, it's not going to be. They don't have draft picks to go out and get someone significant. So the team's kind of stuck the way they are unless they trade Julius and get like pieces back. But
yeah, I think the trade is like the trade that they can make is like basically a version of the Cat trade they made, where you get an expiring plus a player that joins your rotation.
Mm-hmm. But
so
it's not going to it's not going to drastically change the outcome of this team this year.
No, and to me that trade is like, that's a punt on this season trade.
Yeah.
Maybe you make that trade like something for Cam Johnson in salary filler. Like that type of trade would be, I think it'd make them better in the short term, but like your ceiling as a team just goes to almost nil. Like you're and maybe we're barreling towards, like we're heading towards a scenario where that's like the type of trade they need to make. Would like set your books up better for next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the never ending question about like the Cat trade is going to be, what was the thought process? How much was it? Did you think you're getting, like, did they think they were making the team better, worse, or the same? And I'm guessing they probably thought like the same or slightly worse, and it's been a big step worse. So the question, like off of that, was like, how much was it about saving cash money for the ownership versus saving salary cap relief, like for next year, second apron rules, all that fun stuff.
Which we'll find out this offseason. Like if they don't bring back, if Nas or Na walks, I think we got a pretty good answer on like it was for like financial reasons. If they sign Nas and Na, then I mean, to me, the Cat trade, if they re-sign those guys, was basically Cat for 1 year of Randall, Nas, Na, and Dante, which I can stomach that better. But like if they let Nas walk, which I don't know how they could. I mean,
you can't trade Cat and then let Nas walk. There's a scenario where you don't retain Nikhil and you talk yourself, well, we got Dante, so we replace that role. Okay, we got my Nets look good. Like I want Nikhil back as much as anyone, but
you can talk yourself into it.
Again, Tyus got the minimum, so when Nikhil gets you break the salary cap rules so you can pay him less than a minimum. Like I still can't believe Tyus got the minimum. What are we doing?
This new salary, like the new apron levels, it's gonna be weird. Like it's just gonna be weird. There's gonna be
It's
players.
already weird.
There's gonna be. I think there's gonna be a lot more players willing to take a 1-year minimum to try and balloon their salary up than ever
Yeah,
before.
that's a
Because
very baseball thing.
yeah,
Baseball players have a bad season. They grab a 1 year. Like a team overpays them for 1 year. They try to have a good season. Sometimes they do. Like just thinking of Twins lens, Carlos Santana got a bunch of money from Cleveland after having a good season, and then there's forever that there's a Joey Gallo whose career kind of falls
yep,
off and ends in Minnesota. But the apron, like I can still stomach the Cat trade. I still
yep,
see what they were trying to do. I still almost would. I mean, it's easy in hindsight to not like it, but like I still think the process was fine.
yep.
What stinks is the apron, or maybe it was cheap ownership, or some combination of both. As a league, if smaller big market, if a team has their best season in 20 years and is forced to trade their franchise player, it's just broken.
Yeah.
You've created a broken system. However you get there, and so like that's my bigger picture thought is like it stinks that like as a sports fan, you want to be able to like build and grow with your team, and like the minute you you get close to the mountaintop, you have to blow it up before you even get to fail. Like that just, as a sports viewing fan, that just stinks. And I think they kind of just screwed up the whole thing with not the whole thing, but like the apron just kind of stinks.
Thank you, Kevin Durant.
I don't think that. Thank you.
I think Golden State getting Kevin Durant that summer was the catalyst for all of these things happening. Was like
I don't.
we
Apparently, it was the Clippers.
Team that good never has an opportunity to get players like.
But they fixed that though. The reason, like the cap would have spiked already again, and the same thing could have happened. But they smoothed it out. Like so now it goes up 10% every year, basically into infinity.
Or is this the Aaron Gordon problem, where the Nuggets were able to trade for Aaron Gordon?
It's the Clippers. The Clippers kept buying people and going way into the luxury check. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Norm Powell. We'll blame it on a lesser NBA player.
And I just think like the owners overreacted to that thing because like look at the Clippers now. I mean, I guess maybe you say they lost Paul George because of the apron stuff or whatever, but like I don't know.
I mean, I'm right there with you. I think to me, this offseason will tell me a lot about the Cat trade. Again, if they go out and like reward Nikhil, reward Nas, they're barely under the second apron, but they have like their core guys re-signed because that's all they can really do this offseason. They're not going to be able to go free agent hunting. They could theoretically player option, like Randall opts in and they can trade him, but like they're kind of stuck this offseason too, except for their own guys. So if they like reward their own guys and bring them back, I guess I understand it. If it's, Nas walks and Nikhil walks and they're like Luka Garza gets another veteran minimum and like you said, Josh Minot, Dante. To me, I think the biggest indictment on like the second apron kind of sucking for the Wolves is like they drafted Rob Dillingham to play with Cat. Like in my mind, they would not have drafted Rob if they knew Dante was coming because Rob's just buried now. Like you have Mike, you have Ant, you have Dante, you have Nikhil, all that are going to get guard minutes over him. Like, why would you waste the 8th pick or that capital if you knew that you were going to add another person in front of him? And if Cat was on this team, I mean, Dante with Cat, Nas, Nikhil, and like Ant as a lineup, that's a ton of space, a ton of just drive and kick. Like it makes a lot of sense. I think Conley's just trying to do the best he can with this situation because that apron came in and like it just crushes teams. Like it just crushes them.
Yeah, the Dillingham trade is kind of the head scratcher for me. Like it kind of brings up a bigger picture thought is like what what are the Wolves, or what do they view themselves as? Do you still view yourselves as like a championship contender? Did you ever view yourself as that, or did you feel like last year was like the top of the what that team or what even this team can accomplish? If that's true, then the Dillingham trade and the Cat trade make complete sense. Like, you're trying to build for years to come, but if those trades make sense, then you got to play them, whether it's going to cause you to win games or not. You got to, and probably might not as well. You just got to play those guys.
Yep.
But if you still view this as like a championship team or even like a playoff contending team, then it makes complete sense not to play those guys, but it makes no sense to make either the Cat trade or the Dillingham trade. So
that's where I'm stuck too. Because, like, again, if Cat was still here and they did the Dillingham trade, right? Like, theoretically, your top 8 would be, the starting 5 with Cat, Nas, and then probably Minot or Dillingham or Shannon or like somebody would hopefully ascend out of that group.
I think Rob and Minot would both be playing.
Yeah. Right. And then it's like, okay, you got 7 guys that you trust in that were on the playoff roster last year. You lost Kyle, but like you brought in Joe, you have Minot, you have Rob, you have Shannon, you have all of this kind of swath of younger people battling for the bottom 2 roster spots or rotation spots. But you got 7 guys that can win in the playoffs. And like, to me, that makes sense. Like, you're giving the last 2 roster rotation spots like a shot at younger guys. Well, you still have that 7 core. Right now, it's like they have all of these younger guys, but they're so boxed up because they added Dante and Randall that, like, really they only have that 9th man spot that's going to get 8 minutes. So you're never going to be able to figure out what you have unless like Mike goes down injured, which like could happen. I mean, Rudy could go down, Ant could miss time. Like, then you're giving people an opportunity, but I mean, Rob is still relatively unknown. I mean,
right.
And that's the 8th overall pick in the draft.
Thinking about the timing of like that lineup, you say, like thinking about the timing of the Cat trade, that was their plan going into training camp, is that exact rotation.
Yep.
That's what they were planning to do. And apparently the Knicks stepped up their offer with adding Dante and a pick or something to that kind to the trade. And at that point they had because I think if the draft happens, or if the Knicks offer the trade at the beginning of the offseason before the draft, I don't think they trade.
I don't think they trade up.
Yeah. So that is unlucky, I guess, because then the question is like, well, because you traded for Dillingham, should you have kept Cat? My thoughts on that would probably be they viewed this like the Dante edition and the pick edition as like too good to pass up.
Yeah.
And time will tell on it, I guess. I'm curious. I'm really curious, like, because Finch has said glowing stuff about Randall. If like, do they view Randall as like a core part of this team, or is it really just like an expiring salary that they were looking for? And I wonder if the front office and the coaching staff are like not aligned in whatever that thought is.
I think Finch likes Randall a lot, and like Randall seems like a really good dude. Like, I don't know, he's always like works hard, seems like a nice guy. I did his charity event and covered it. He was very gracious with his time with kids and doing stuff that he honestly didn't need to do as just like a charity event. Like, he seems like a good dude. So I'm sure Finch is like, yeah, we want to keep this guy around. But like, the reality of it is like, if they re-sign Randall, like if player option decline, they re-sign him for like $25 million a year or something like that. Like, they can't afford Nikhil and Nas without going way into the luxury tax again. And if that's the case, I think I'd rather just keep Cat.
Yeah, I think with Randall, the question for me isn't whether he's going to be on the team next year. I just would be so surprised at that.
Yeah.
To me, the question is like, will he be on the team at the end of this year?
That's kind of where I'm at too.
And to me, if you're going to let him walk, like, unless they start ripping off games here, like, which I don't think they're going to be able to do before the trade deadline just because the end of January schedule is so tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting close to just being like, okay, shrink the ceiling just to be able to keep assets in house. Because you talk about like not having assets to flip in the offseason. Well, if you trade Randall and you have like different pieces that come in through that trade, then you do have stuff to look at. But yeah, just looking at their upcoming schedule. So they played 15 straight games against above 500 teams. One thing that's done is it's absolutely driven down their remaining strength of schedule. They have the second easiest schedule in all of the Western Conference. The only one that has an easier schedule is Golden State, who has those two teams have the same record, and Golden State has honestly played worse than the Wolves have. Just looking at their underlying numbers, but the Wolves have three winnable games here at Detroit, home against Clippers, and then at just a terribly struggling New Orleans team. So that's three winnable games. But then from there, aside from a brief stop in DC, the rest of the January schedule is just insane. Even to the point where like the last game of January is in Utah, which you'd think is a winnable game, which it still is. But when you're playing Phoenix the night before, second night of a back-to-back in Utah is tough. Dallas, Denver, Memphis, Cleveland, New York, Golden State. Like the end of January, and they have like 3 games where they're at the rest disadvantage. Like the end of January is going to be, if they come out of that with a similar record they do now, you're probably in a good spot because it gets real easy in February, and probably the rest of the. If they have a tough January schedule and they're currently second to last in Western Conference remaining schedule, February and March is when this team is going to start winning games, would be my guess.
Yeah. I mean, the end of January, the Nuggets, Hawks, Suns, Jazz, 4 games in 7 days. I mean, that's...
Ugh.
No, 4 games in 6 days. That's tough. Like,
Gross.
they're going to lose 2 of those just off of, like, not being able to practice, not being able to get treatment that they need, and just how grueling that's going to be. But, like, again, I wouldn't be surprised if this team can rattle off like 5-game winning streak. Like they have the talent to do it. If things click, they trust each other. Like we could be coming out of this end of January and like looking pretty good. I think what's more likely is they're probably going to be around 500 after January. And hopefully we have some signs that they're coming together and like, you know, their defense stays at a top 3 level over the rest of January. The offense is looking a little bit better. And then, like you said, you go into February, March, April, and they start climbing up the standings. It is an interesting point with Randall, though, because you're right. Like, if they want to make an offseason move, they kind of have to move him for like a $20 million salary that is for a couple of years that they could flip again. But if they were to, I mean, look at how long it's taken Randall and Dante to gel on this team. If they were to move Randall, that's going to set back the whole process, and it's going to kind of just go into what do the Wolves think they are this season? Do they think they're going to be able to make a run at it, or do they think that they're going to be like a 6-7 seed, barely like playoff team to barely playoff team, play-in team to barely playoff team? And if they think they're closer to the latter, I mean, then you might as well trade Randall and get a couple seconds and someone you can flip this offseason. I do think I'm almost more worried about this upcoming schedule though, because they're not playing the best teams. Because this team, again, going back to the first year they had Rudy, they really played down to their opponents quite a bit that year. And I kind of get the same vibe from this team that they maybe don't wake up 100% for the worst, the lesser teams in the league. So like that Washington game makes me really nervous because like that could easily be a game where they just sleepwalk through and accidentally lose. Like it's just a weird team.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna not be able to kind of come through against OKC and Boston and lose to the bad teams too, they're going to be in a bad spot. Especially like, I don't know, Ant just needs to come out with aggression, and so does everyone. But I will be in Washington for that game.
Hey.
So that'll in attendance. My brother lives out there, so looking forward to that. I'll try to. I'll I'll go in the pregame locker room and rattle some cages. I'm sure that'll. No, I'm kidding. But
make sure they're awake. Ant's not like in a comatose in the corner.
I'm sure me and Chris Hine will be in there, and that'll me and Chris, they'll be so inspired by us sitting there that I'm sure that'll bring them against a win against a team that is pretty bad. Washington is they started off the year like their net rating was like the worst in league history or whatever. So to that sense, they're playing better, but 6-25. Oof.
Beginning of February though, they got 7 of 8 games at home. So
yeah,
that's where I would expect, if they can get
trade
through,
deadline sits right in there.
Yep. If they can get through January, and if they do like surprise and rattle off some wins here, and then they got that at the beginning of February, we could be talking a lot differently when we do our beginning of the month pod in February.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, they did it in December. They had a tough schedule. They went 9-6 against 15 winning teams. And so I think the goal would probably be to do that again, be sitting 4 or 5 games above 500, so that when you get that easy stretch, they can just kind of go on a run. And hopefully, I mean, the 1 seed's for sure out of reach. The 2 and 3 seeds, I'm guessing Memphis or someone will, maybe Houston will continue to play. But like 4 seed, maybe 3 seed is still definitely within range. And my expectation is still 5 or 6 and get out of the play-in tournament and face a non-OKC playoff team that you have a puncher's shot against.
I'm right there with you.
Exactly. But that's where we're going to wrap up. Andrew, anything to plug?
Nothing to plug. I think I'll be at the Clippers game, so I'll see you there. I have articles on Zone Coverage. They come out every Wednesday, Saturday.
Awesome. Yep, check out Andrew on Enzo Coverage. Leo and I will be back early next week, so we'll see you all then. Thanks for listening.